On my wedding day, Jason barged in to ruin it. Emily, I like you. Will you come with me? He stood in the middle of the hall, eyes full of certainty, a confident, flamboyant smile on his face. The man before me gradually overlapped with the boy in my memory. I couldn't tell them apart anymore. I hesitated, then politely asked, "Are you out of your mind?" After I spoke, Jason's smile collapsed completely, vanishing without a trace. He tried to say something more, but his parents quickly came up, laughing. "He's just like when he was a kid, always joking around," while dragging him away. The host was quick-witted. He cracked a joke right away, drawing loud laughter from the crowd. What had just happened instantly became nothing more than a trivial interlude. The wedding continued as planned. Under the gaze of everyone, Brian held my hand. We exchanged vows, professed our love, embraced, and kissed. After the ceremony, when the guests were gone, he walked me back to my room to rest. I had just changed into my clothes when I heard the door open behind me. "Honey, you're back." Before I could even turn around, someone grabbed me tightly from behind. Hot, burning breaths poured against my neck, like flames. But it wasn't my Brian. I raised my arm and struck with an elbow without hesitation. He groaned, his grip loosening instantly. I quickly stepped back, turned around, and saw Jason clutching his side, my face immediately turning cold. "Jason, are you insane?" Jason pressed his lips together, his expression tense and rigid. His eyes locked firmly on me. After a long silence, he let out a bitter laugh. "Why? We're clearly meant to be together. Why would you marry another man?" Jason and I were childhood sweethearts. Both our parents worked at the same factory. We grew up playing together. We were very close. The adults often joked that we were destined to be together. I also believed Jason and I would always be together. After the high school entrance exam, everyone gathered for a farewell dinner. We were young and emotional. The sadness of parting struck suddenly. One moment we were laughing, the next we were crying into each other's shoulders. My best friend clung to me, sobbing uncontrollably. I busied myself comforting her while still searching for Jason among the crowd. By chance, our eyes met. I smiled, just about to call his name, but he gave me a look filled with disgust. I froze, baffled. As I tried to look closer, he had already turned away and started chatting with others. Did I see it wrong? After all, Jason and I grew up together. He had always protected me and cherished me. How could he look at me like that? I convinced myself I must have been mistaken. And I firmly believed it. When the gathering ended, classmates left in small groups. Jason and I lived in the same neighborhood, so we walked together. But for some reason, he walked much faster than usual. His legs were long, and I struggled to keep up, nearly losing him. Exhausted, I couldn't help but shout, "Jason, wait for me." But he didn't look back, striding straight ahead. I had no choice but to hurry after him. Eventually, I found him at a convenience store. He was eating instant noodles. I bought a sausage and some oden, placing them in front of him. "Don't just eat noodles. That's unhealthy." He glanced at me, then at the food, and sneered. Again, that attitude. I couldn't understand. "Jason, did I do something to upset you? You've been acting strange toward me today." I wanted to know why, what had gone wrong. Jason finally looked me in the eyes. But the words he spoke froze me to the core. "Emily, don't you think you're pathetic? I ignore you, and yet you keep staring at me. I don't wait for you, but you keep following me, even buying me food." He pushed the oden aside, his face filled with disdain and mockery. "What, are you that desperate for love? Do you enjoy groveling for me that much?" Groveling? That word made me stumble back a step. Why would he use such vile words to describe me? Clutching my clothes tightly, I drew a deep breath. Suppressing the trembling in my voice, I asked, "Jason, what's wrong with you? Did something happen? Still acting self-righteous?" Jason cut me off, his mocking tone crashing over me like a tidal wave. "Who do you think you are? You think you know me so well? What a joke. Don't flatter yourself. In my eyes, you're nothing. Stop following me." With that, he stood up and left. I stared after his departing figure, my gaze slowly falling onto the untouched oden on the table. It was all the food he usually liked. He hadn't touched a single bite. Silently, I sat down and ate it all, even finishing the soup. Afterward, under the moonlight, I walked home alone. That road I had taken countless times felt more desolate than ever before. From that day on, Jason changed. When I asked him out to play, he impatiently refused. When I went to his house, he shut me out. Even if his parents were home and let me in, he would hide in his room with the excuse of studying. Over time, I realized he was deliberately avoiding me. He didn't want to see me. No one can keep humiliating themselves forever. So I stopped going to him. And he truly never came to me, not even once. Soon, high school started. Jason and I ended up in the same class. He sat right behind me. I could hear him chatting and laughing with others, still the cheerful boy I once knew. So I gathered my courage to break the ice. But he gave no reaction. It wasn't until a classmate nudged him that he spared me a glance. When he spoke, his tone was dismissive. "What is it?" I had saved up a whole summer's worth of words to tell him. But faced with his attitude, I couldn't say a single thing. In the end, I shook my head. "Nothing." I turned back around, only to hear him clearly mutter, "Crazy. So weird." Beneath the desk, my hands clenched tightly, a dull ache pressing into my chest. I guess this was the price of clinging shamelessly. Sorry, it was my fault for not learning my lesson. My relationship with Jason hit rock bottom when his early romance was discovered. During that time, he had met a girl from another school. The two of them were inseparable. He stopped focusing on his studies, and his grades plummeted, drawing the teacher's attention. The teacher gave him a gentle reminder, "Jason, I've been your age. I'm not against young love, but you should understand what matters most." Just then, I came in to hand over homework. The teacher happened to call my name. "I remember you and Emily grew up together. If you want a friend, she's the kind of friend you should have, someone who can work hard with you, not drag you down." Hearing this, Jason turned to look at me. Our eyes met, and his lips curled into a cold smile. "Teacher, even if I make mistakes, you don't have to disgust me like this." In that instant, I felt ice run through my veins. I clenched my fists, using every ounce of strength not to slap him in front of the teacher. The teacher looked stunned, frowning, his tone full of disapproval. "Jason, mind your words." "Emily, she..." "It's fine, teacher." I stepped forward, cutting him off. I looked straight at Jason. He was young, rebellious, and his eyes brimmed with contempt. The more I stared, the more I couldn't help but laugh. Meeting his startled gaze, I spoke, word by word. "I don't like being associated with trash either." Jason didn't last long with that girl. But he and I had completely fallen out. Because of what I said, he loathed me even more. When collecting homework, he ignored me. During group discussions, he played dumb. Even when I passed test papers to him, he tossed them aside in disgust. He switched papers with the desk mate. Confused, the desk mate said, "But they're the same thing?" Jason gave a loud, mocking laugh. "Dirty." I had my back to him, but in my mind, I could clearly see the twisted look on his face when he said that word. Just like that night at the farewell dinner, so vile. Our classmates sensed something was wrong. The room fell quiet. My desk mate quietly squeezed my hand. I smiled faintly and mouthed, "It's okay. After all, who hasn't been bitten by a dog? Just stay away from it." After the last exam before we were split into liberal arts and sciences, the school held a parents' meeting. My grades had always been stable, so my mom had little to worry about. Afterward, we went home together. Not long after we arrived, there was a knock at the door. I opened it and was shocked to see Mrs. Xia, Jason's mother, standing there, with Jason behind her. When our eyes met, Jason quickly looked away, flustered. Once seated, Mrs. Xia explained her reason: Emily's grades are always excellent. She doesn't need her parents to worry. Unlike my son, his grades are like a roller coaster, up and down, driving my blood pressure through the roof. Now that the split is coming, I was hoping Emily could tutor him, so he doesn't get dumped into the regular class. That would be such a disgrace. So that was it. This was what they called childhood sweethearts. Even if we fought outside, we'd be forced to sit together at home. Disgusting. My mom looked troubled. That's not impossible, but... Her eyes shifted toward me. Jason let out a cold hum. Forget it if she doesn't want to. I won't beg her. That same arrogant tone, as if he were granting me a favor. I couldn't help but laugh. Ignoring his sour face, I turned to Mrs. Xia with an apologetic smile. I'm sorry, Auntie. I can't help you. She clearly hadn't expected me to refuse. Why not? I'm taking liberal arts, and he's taking sciences. The courses are different. I don't have the energy. You're taking liberal arts? The one most shocked wasn't Mrs. Xia, it was Jason. His eyes widened in disbelief. Then, as if realizing something, his brows furrowed deeply, his face troubled. Ridiculous. Mrs. Xia was also stunned, blurting out, but Jason said you were taking sciences. Why the sudden change? Sciences? I frowned. My liberal arts grades had always been better and more stable. Anyone could guess I'd choose liberal arts. Where did Jason get the nerve to think I'd take sciences? He must be insane. You weren't doing it for me. Jason stopped mid-sentence. Something seemed to click in his head. The shock vanished, replaced by a knowing smirk. Oh, I see. Playing hard to get? You think this will make me notice you? Ridiculous. With that, Jason stood up and stormed out, completely disregarding the awkwardness he left behind. Mrs. Xia looked especially embarrassed, fidgeting as she stammered an excuse. Jason's under a lot of pressure lately. He can't control his emotions. Please don't take it to heart. I politely saw her out, then turned back to face my mom's stern expression. My heart skipped. Mom, you don't mean... Does Jason have a screw loose? Huh? What nonsense was he spouting just now? Has he lost his mind? My mom frowned, her face tangled with frustration. After some hesitation, she finally said firmly. You should stay away from him. I don't think his brain works right. I couldn't hold back, I burst into laughter. Curious, I asked, aren't you worried Uncle and Auntie Xia will be upset? After all, our families had known each other for years. My mom looked baffled. Why would I care if they're upset? How could outsiders ever matter more than my own daughter? With that single sentence, my heart felt at ease. I had worried my mom might value family ties and force me to tolerate Jason. But clearly, I had underestimated her love. On Monday, the homeroom teacher handed out the forms to choose between liberal arts and sciences. Without hesitation, I checked the box for liberal arts. Just as I was about to hand it in, a hand shot out from behind and snatched my form. Jason, what are you doing? Jason's eyes were fixed on my paper, scanning it over and over. He looked up at me, eyes wide with rage. You really chose liberal arts? I seriously thought he was insane. Snatching the paper back, I handed it directly to the student collecting forms. As for Jason, I couldn't be bothered. He was just a lunatic. I thought he was just having another one of his tantrums. But after class, when I went to the restroom, he suddenly blocked my way in the corridor. He forcefully dragged me aside. What the hell are you doing again? I yanked my arm free and looked down. Red marks already marred my wrist. It stung. He never used to be so rough. Emily, you did this on purpose, didn't you? Jason grabbed my shoulders, demanding, "You clearly would have chosen sciences for me. Why are you choosing liberal arts? You did it to spite me, didn't you? To get my attention?" God, I could cry. Please, go see a doctor. Delusional disorder is also a disease. What makes you think I'd study a subject I'm not good at just for you? Because you like me. I froze, staring blankly at him. So he knew. He had always known. He knew about my girlish feelings, knew how seriously I had taken the adults' jokes about us being a perfect match. Then why? Why? Why treat me like this? He knew exactly what I was asking, yet he pressed his lips tight, refusing to say a word. The silence was like a river, slowly drowning me. It didn't matter anymore. Yes, I did like you. But I won't sacrifice my future for feelings. To me, love is a bonus question, not a required one. And as for you, you're not worth betting my future on. Jason, we're done. You're just pretending now. In a few days, you'll go begging the teacher to change your choice back. Leaving those words, Jason stormed off in anger. I didn't care. Love might bring happiness, but it could never be the center of my life. No matter how strong a passion is, it can't stop me from moving forward. Besides, this so-called childhood bond had long been trampled into filth by him. Disgusting. I didn't want it anymore. After the class division, I successfully entered the experimental liberal arts class. With Jason out of sight, even the air around me felt fresher. I buried myself in studying and practice exams, swimming freely in the ocean of knowledge. At the end of the term, my grades steadily rose. I ranked among the top 10 in my year. At dinner, my parents praised me heavily. While chatting, my mom mentioned Jason, saying his grades had improved rapidly too. I dismissed it. He was irrelevant. After the college entrance exam, I was admitted into my dream university, just as I'd expected. My parents threw me a celebration banquet. My cousin insisted it was my first major milestone as an adult and should be grand. She put makeup on me, curled my hair, and gave me a white dress. When I appeared before everyone, I looked completely renewed, soaking in compliments and admiration. Among the guests were Jason and his family. It had been so long since I last saw him, and he seemed different, quiet, almost mature. My eyes lingered on him for only a second before I looked away. As the banquet neared its end, my father had a bit too much to drink. I went to find a waiter for lemon water. On my way back, I ran into Jason. I ignored him and tried to leave, but he grabbed my wrist and pulled me aside. "What's wrong with you again?" "Emily." Jason murmured my name under his breath, his voice thick with emotion. "I like you. Let's be together." My eyes widened in disbelief. My expression must have been a mix of shock and horror. "You're drunk, aren't you? What kind of joke is this?" "I'm not joking. I'm serious." Jason refused to release my wrist. His grip was stubborn, his eyes filled with devotion. "You like me too, don't you? We both feel the same. We should be together." As always, he was so certain, as if things were meant to be that way. I laughed. Bit by bit, I pried his hand off mine and stepped back. "Jason, do you remember what you once called me? You called me pathetic. You said I was groveling. You said the things I touched were dirty. I didn't mean any of that." Jason panicked, fumbling over his words, his explanation messy and frantic. "I was just a rebellious teenager back then. Whenever people said you were good, I thought you weren't. Whenever they said we should be together, I wanted to stay far away. But Emily, I really do like you." "Really? So that was the reason?" The reason I had agonized over for 3 years, unable to make sense of. He brushed it off so lightly. All because of teenage rebellion. That was enough to trample on my feelings as he pleased. And afterward, he thought he could throw out a half-hearted explanation, tack on a confession, and erase everything. As if the pain, the misunderstandings, the sleepless nights tossing and turning could just disappear. But how? Not every mistake can be erased with sorry. Not every wound can be healed by brushing it aside. I didn't want to forgive him. And I wouldn't. Jason. I looked straight at him. His eyes burned with passion and hope. The flames of excitement danced within them. It was as if he was waiting for me to say the word so he could embrace me the very next second. I said, Jason, you make me sick. Jason froze, his smile stiffening, cracking like dried mud. What did you say? I said, you make me sick. The second time I said it, I felt my whole chest clear. I let out a long breath, a bright smile spreading across my face. What do you think you are? After hurting me, without even an apology, you think you can just erase the past so easily? Even your so-called explanation disgusts me. Jason, you and your excuses are both utterly laughable. I turned and walked away, unwilling to hear another word from him. Young love had reached this point. Whether or not it was a regret didn't matter. At least now I had my answer. I would never again lose sleep over it. Tomorrow would be another good day. Jason was shameless. Even after my clear rejection, he didn't back down. Instead, he escalated, showing up at my house every day to force his presence. When I walked out of my bedroom, rubbing my eyes, he was already sitting on the sofa greeting me. Day after day, it became unbearable. My parents couldn't push him out, tied down by years of family friendship. Besides, Uncle and Aunt Sia had always treated me well. After much thought, I finally decided, if I couldn't drive him away, then I'd leave myself. That very day, I packed my bags and went to stay with my cousin. After graduation, she had opened a cat cafe, and I spent the summer working part-time there. Jason couldn't reach me. My parents wouldn't tell him anything either. Finally, he gave up. I stayed safely at my cousin's place until September. The day before school started, I took my wages and luggage straight to campus, officially becoming a university student. And then, I saw Jason again. When I saw him standing in front of me, I felt like collapsing. You followed me all the way here? Are you insane? Jason curved his lips into a smug grin. I secretly found out which university you applied to. I wanted to apply to the same one, but my score wasn't high enough. Doesn't matter. My university is right near yours, just 2 streets away. It'll be easy for us to meet. Emily, being away from home is hard. With me here, things will be much easier for you. Don't worry. As long as I'm around, you won't need to worry about anything. Don't worry? With him around, I couldn't be at ease at all. Besides, the university next to mine is only a second-tier school. I remember your score, it was high enough for a first tier. Jason's face lit up with excitement. So you still remember my score? Emily, you do care about me after all. Care about you, my ass. If I hadn't overheard your mom telling mine, I wouldn't even know your damn score. What did it have to do with me? I rolled my eyes hard, but Jason didn't care. Still looking proud, he pounded his chest. For you, I can give up everything. I honestly thought he was crazy. What normal person jokes about their future like that? He was seriously ill. But, what did it have to do with me? If you want to throw away your future, that's your problem. Don't drag me into it. And when you regret it later, don't you dare blame me. Sorry, I'm too weak to carry that burden for you. You've got it wrong, I wasn't. And another thing. I cut him off, my tone sharp. Stop bothering me. Between us, there will never be anything. Then I turned and walked away, faster and faster, like I was running from the plague. College life was balanced and free. I quickly made a few good friends. Every day was happy. As for Jason, whenever he had no class, he came to find me, to force his presence. I ignored him completely. I thought, knowing his personality, he'd give up after a while. But I underestimated him. The more he was pushed away, the harder he came. Somehow, he even got hold of my class schedule and started waiting for me outside classrooms. Every time I walked in, I'd hear his overly enthusiastic voice, "Emily, over here." Classmates who didn't know the truth would join in the teasing, saying I was so lucky. Lucky? Heh, this kind of luck, would you want it? I ignored him and went straight to the first row. Thanks to him, I became the most recognizable student to the teachers. I couldn't even skip class. But because of this, my class participation score was nearly perfect. When finals came, while others worried about their grades, I was already peacefully checking my ticket home. Jason couldn't stay still. Seeing me unmoved, he launched a full-on pursuit. Flowers, breakfast, manufactured coincidences. Even when I went out to dinner with my roommates, he would happen to appear nearby. He would generously pay the bill, then stroll over to me, leaning down, one arm draped casually on the back of my chair. With a smile to my roommates, he'd say, "Thanks for taking care of Emily. Dinner's on me. Eat well, have fun." Then he'd leave smoothly, without lingering. To be honest, in that moment, I felt absolutely disgusted. His fake nonchalance made him look like a stranger to me. What kind of sin was I paying for? When I calmed down, I caught my roommates exchanging teasing looks. I took a deep breath. Which one of you has been secretly telling him my whereabouts? They blinked, confused. But one of them lowered her eyes, obviously guilty. I sighed. So it was you, wasn't it? You've been giving him updates all this time. She bit her lip, hesitating, but finally nodded. He didn't mean harm. He just wanted to see you. He even bought me a few milk teas. He only wanted to know where you'd be. Emily, he's really not that bad. He's good-looking, and he cares so much about you. Maybe you should. Don't meddle in other people's relationships. I cut her off, my face colder than ever. What happened between him and me isn't something you can sum up in a few words. But one thing is clear, I'd rather date a dog than like him. I picked up my phone and tapped a few times. I just transferred you my share of tonight's dinner. The rest of the bill, figure it out yourselves. And from now on, I don't want this happening again. I stood to leave. But before I walked off, I couldn't help adding, if a few cups of milk tea are enough for you to sell out my whereabouts, what happens if he offers more? Are you planning to deliver me to his bed? After my warning, Jason indeed stopped showing up for a while. Finally, I had some peace. But it didn't last long. That day, I was heading to the second cafeteria. They sold a crispy pork chop there once a week, and it was so popular it always sold out fast. I queued eagerly. Suddenly, someone tapped my shoulder. I turned to see an unfamiliar face. "Can I help you?" "You're Emily, right?" The girl's tone was fiery, her posture aggressive. I instantly felt uneasy, but stayed polite. "Yes, that's me." "And you are?" "You're that gold digger who keeps stringing Jason along, aren't you?" My face darkened. Before I could respond, she fired off accusations like bullets. "If you don't like him, just reject him clearly. Instead, you play coy, acting so high and mighty. Shameless. You take his gifts without hesitation, but when it comes to serious matters, you dodge. How could a school like this have someone like you? What a disgrace." It was lunchtime. The cafeteria was packed. Our argument drew plenty of stares. People began pointing at me, whispering. Some even chimed in, pretending they knew the story, condemning me without hesitation. How laughable. Calmly, I pulled out my phone and laid out the evidence one by one. The breakfast he sent? I refused it. The flowers? I didn't take them. All the gifts he sent, I returned them to the courier to send back. Even the meals he paid for, I reimbursed every cent. And from the beginning, I told him clearly I don't like him. On my phone screen was our chat record. I had written explicitly, "I don't like you." I will never be with you. The date was 2 years ago, the night of the graduation banquet. After that, I blocked him and never accepted a single message again. The crowd that had been so vocal fell silent. The girl who had confronted me flushed red but still refused to back down. If you really rejected him thoroughly, why would he still chase you? Clearly the problem is you. Are you okay? I couldn't help but laugh in disbelief. Was this person serious? If you get bitten by a dog, do you blame yourself for buying sausages and attracting it? Stop defending men blindly. Even if you like him, don't dump the blame on me. I'm the victim here. If you really have the skills, why don't you take him off my hands and give me some peace? I'd thank you. Her face turned pale, then red, unable to reply. Finally, she stomped her foot and stormed off. The show over, the crowd dispersed. I let out a deep breath, then almost cried. Damn it, I missed the last pork chop. A few days later, Jason reappeared out of nowhere. He blocked my path. Emily, I know everything that happened in the cafeteria. You see, there are plenty of people who like me. I'm very popular. But I'm the kind of person who values old feelings. If you come back to me now, it's not too late. I'm still waiting. But don't wait until I'm with someone else and you're left crying under the covers at night. After saying this, he spread his arms wide, smiling confidently, waiting for me to throw myself into his embrace. But I didn't move. His brows furrowed. He looked at me, puzzled, then suddenly seemed to understand. Oh, I get it. Girls like to play coy. No problem, I'll take the initiative. After all, I like you. He stepped forward, trying to hug me. I recoiled in fright, stepping back again and again, bumping into someone else. I quickly apologized, sorry. Looking up, I realized it was Brian. It's fine. Brian was polite, but his eyes swept over Jason before settling on me. Emily, are you in trouble? Do you need help? Jason bristled immediately. Who the hell are you? Stay out of our business. I grabbed Brian's sleeve tightly, nodding hard. He's harassing me. I was weak and had no chance of fighting Jason on my own. Emily, you. It's fine. I'm here. Brian stepped in front of me, his cold gaze locked on Jason. His tone wasn't loud, but it carried an undeniable weight. This is a university campus. You don't even belong here. You shouldn't linger. With someone protecting me, Jason lost his temper. Who do you think you are? Get lost. Brian didn't flinch. If you don't leave, I'll call security to throw you out. Jason was all bark and no bite. He only bullied people weaker than him, like me. Facing Brian, his bravado deflated. And at the mention of security, he dared not push further. In the end, he slunk away, tail between his legs. Only after he left did my heart finally settle. I looked at Brian with sincere gratitude. Thank you so much. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't been here. Brian smiled softly. Don't mention it. We're classmates. How could I not help? He glanced up at the sky. It's getting late. I'll walk you back to your dorm. I nodded, not refusing his kindness. On the way back, I couldn't help venting about what had happened. Brian comforted me gently, don't blame yourself. None of this is your fault. You've handled it well. In the moonlight, his gentle expression etched itself into my heart. The next day, I went to find my advisor, wanting to suggest tightening campus security against outsiders. Jason was one problem, but there were other hidden dangers too. Better safe than sorry. But my advisor said someone else had already brought it up. Who was it? I asked. Brian. He came this morning, even submitted a detailed written proposal. I've already passed it up. There should be results soon. I was shocked. He'd acted before I even had the chance. Later, when I found Brian, I hesitated over how to bring it up. But he caught on and spoke first. I thought about yesterday. It was dangerous. Over half the students here are girls. If outsiders come in unchecked, the risks are huge. Whether it's relationship drama or harassment, it should be prevented early. I did it for everyone's safety. I hope it didn't make you uncomfortable. Uncomfortable? How could I be? While others watched the drama, gossiped, even envied me, he had noticed my struggle and chosen to help. I was deeply grateful. Once again, I said sincerely, "Thank you." Brian smiled. "If you really want to thank me, how about a meal together?" I didn't refuse. I even borrowed money from my best friend, just in case. No matter how expensive the meal, I was ready. He deserved it. But you meant dinner, at the cafeteria? I was stunned. Yeah. Don't you like it? Seeing that he was serious, I sighed. I thought you'd want something fancier. This is perfect. He gestured for me to sit, then went to get food. When he came back, he slid a crispy pork chop across the table to me. My eyes widened. How did you? Yesterday you said you were upset about missing out on it. Brian smiled warmly. Now you've got it. Feel better? I held my chopsticks, staring at the pork chop as waves of emotion crashed in my heart. I hadn't expected that, out of everything I'd said, he'd remember this detail. What a good man. Brian and I grew closer day by day, eventually becoming a couple. His proposal to the school was approved. From then on, campus entry was tightly controlled. Jason never had another chance to harass me on school grounds. At last, I could enjoy a normal college life. After graduation, our parents met and were very satisfied. Wedding preparations began smoothly. On the day of the wedding, Jason showed up like a fool, loudly declaring he'd take me away. I could only think, he's insane. Facing Jason's questions, I had no fear. Love requires effort. But how did you treat me? You trampled my feelings when you knew I liked you. And later, when you realized my worth, you brushed aside the past, as if nothing had happened. Jason, I am a person, a living, breathing person. You can't treat me like a pet, hold me close when you feel like it, kick me away when you don't. And then act like your gestures are deep and romantic, when all they've ever done is torment me. You never once respected my feelings. Yet you demand I accept you. The world doesn't work that way. I drew in a breath and spoke each word firmly. Even now, after everything, you've never given me a proper apology. You've never recognized your mistakes. In your eyes, there's only yourself, no room for anyone else. That's it, Jason. I already have someone I love. You and I will never, ever have anything again. From now on, we go our separate ways. Stop interfering in my life. My husband doesn't have much patience. If you provoke him, you'll suffer the consequences. I opened the door. Brian was standing outside, smiling at me. You. All finished? If you're done, let's go. Brian took my hand, his gaze flicking to Jason. I gave you this chance to say goodbye to your youth. You won't get another. I couldn't help but laugh softly. So jealous, and yet pretending to be calm. Thank you, Mr. White. As we left, I didn't look back. Youth was like a flowing river. Once gone, it didn't need to be held on to. I didn't regret not ending up with my childhood crush. True love must be mutual. Beside me was the man I loved, and who loved me back. He respected me, understood me, knew my thoughts, and stood by me unwaveringly. That was enough.